um, the thing about advertising is it does sell itself as like, or we sell ourselves as creatives as the trendiest or the trendsetters or the guys who. There's a term that people throw around. I think you know what's the one that's the new hot term? Cultural something, cult. I don't know. You know the terms.
What curators of cool?
Exactly. And I think that's what advertising sees itself as. And you can also find yourself on the wrong side of that. So if you're like an older person and like, look, we aren't young anymore. We're not the young, cool kids in advertising anymore. And if you don't keep up with trends or you don't
Speak for
keep up with,
yourself, man.
well, you're older than me. If you don't keep up with what's hot and what's cool, you can start to feel like you're not relevant anymore, right? And I think that's true of like even musicians or whatever. Like if you're not doing what the cool kids are doing, and you're in your little bubble, and you're seen as not being not useful, but you're not as beneficial. And
Mm.
if agencies bring you in for like, because agencies, let's be honest, kind of use, and I don't mean use in a bad way. Well, whatever way you take it, they use the people as the influences of what the culture is going to be. So to your point where you're saying when you're young in an agency, you know cool. They get you in because you're cool and because you have this insight and you grew up in a town far away and your upbringing is different than the ECDs, obviously. And you need to speak to your peers. You need to talk, I don't mean in like language, but you need to talk the way you talk to your peers to
Mm.
effectively influence them to buy your stuff. And if you want to, and we all always trying to appeal to the cool young guys, right? The cool young guys
Mm.
drive sales. The cool young guys are buying the cars, or the cool young guys are buying the clothes. The cool young guys. We're always trying to appeal to those cool young guys. And you yourself in an agency have to be a cool young guy to speak to those people. And the minute you become not a cool young guy, you become irrelevant.
Yeah.
I think in a way, and I don't think. I mean, like people think being eccentric or whatever is like a way to um, be perceived as super creative. And I think we dress normally, nothing wrong with the way we act. I don't think we try to be extravagant, we try to be eccentric, or we try to show how creative we
What
are.
about you?
I mean, those
Your the thick
not only are they
room?
functional, they're fashionable. But I think, yeah, man, I think you either play the cool game, you play the I'm the most cool guy. I know the latest trends. I know what's happening with fashion. I'm dyeing my hair every 3 weeks because that's what makes me appear to be relevant and cool,
Mm.
or you just don't give a fuck about that shit and you make cool work regardless. It's how you want to portray yourself, man. And I think there is this perception in advertising that you have to be the crazy one. You have to be the crazy one
Yeah.
to be the most creative, and the most creative and the most crazy ones get the opportunities. And there might be something
Yeah.
to that. I think
I
if you
suppose. Yeah.
no, I was just gonna say, I think if you're in advertising, you learn how to sell. And sometimes
Yeah.
you're not just selling products, you're selling yourself.
Yeah. I think most of the time you're probably selling yourself.
Mm.
But if you use like you brought up that music example. So like for me, I don't know if it is heartbreaking, but it's kind of like if you get to a certain point in your musical career, you decide, okay, cool, I'm going to stop singing, I'm going to stop performing, I'm going to stop touring, and maybe you become like a songwriter or a producer, and you write for like the next up and coming, you know, talented musicians. Then I think that's kind of cool. But like, how do you feel about like say for instance Britney Spears going to Vegas just to like kind of carry on milking it, and like Celine Dion before her, where it's like, you know, it's kind of like it's great that they're pushing it, but I think there comes a point where it's like, come on, I don't
Listen,
know,
man,
maybe that's me.
if you figured out how to make money doing this one thing, and you can still make money doing that thing, by all means, man. Like we, as the cool people, go, "What the fuck is Britney or Celine doing?" But bear in mind that we aren't their target market. Their target market are the people who save up every year and they go to Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, they go to Vegas. And they go there because they want to gamble, they want
Mm,
to see some strippers, and they want to listen to fucking Celine, bro. And that's their
yeah,
jam. And who are we to
yeah,
tell? We get Keith Sweat to come into our country every year. And my uncle will go every year because he fucking loves Keith Sweat. You know what I mean? Like, I like Keith Sweat
fair
when
enough,
I was
fair enough.
6 or 7 years
Yeah,
old. I'm not a Keith Sweat fan now. I hear that one song, Twisted. But like, my uncle will still go. My uncle will go. He'll fill up his Corolla and he'll get his girl and they'll drive to Carnival City, wherever the fuck Keith Sweat pops up at, and he'll be there, or the Temptations, or Earth, Wind and Fire, or do you know what I mean? Like I hear what you're saying about like when you're not relevant more anymore stuff, but like if you figured out how to make money from doing this thing, and you're gonna sing "Hit Me Baby"
yeah,
one more time for the rest of your fucking life, by all means, man, get your dog, get your coin, King. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Get your money.
Look, I mean, I suppose for me, like, I think I would want to do like lots of different things, you know,
Mm.
like me, I've never really, I think from quite early on in my career, I kind of like looked at creative directors and I was like, they're cool and everything. And it's like, it is quite glamorous and they get to go to like cool award shows and you know, like rear the upcoming talent and stuff. But for me, I was like, it looks exhausting,
Yeah,
having to be like, this creative person, but then you have to sit in status meetings. You have to basically be a traffic manager and like chase up on people and sit with people and do KPI and KPA, and like there's that whole corporate side, but then you still need to maintain your coolness and be like a role model and like be hip and kind of stuff. Like for me, that just seems so exhausting because they're not actually even executing anymore,
yeah,
a lot of them. It's just like, it's become this thing of like, you basically just like a glorified manager. Um,
yeah,
and and for me, it's like I've always been about executing. So like whatever the thing is, whether it's a TV ad or it's a magazine print ad layout or a storyboard, like that for me is the thing that's cool. Like just making stuff, whatever it is, you know.
yeah. I hear you.
So
Like,
for me, I mean, I wouldn't be happy singing "Hit Me, Baby" one more time every single night. I'd want to come up with new albums. I'd want to,
yeah.
keep influencing,
I think
like an influencer.
no, I hear you, man. I think you'd want to be a Dr. Dre. Like you'd want to like invest in the younger artists and make them popular and make them better because somehow it'll benefit you. I mean, you shouldn't do it because it's going to benefit you, but you know that you've done what you needed to do. Yeah, I mean, we're using this music analogy as far as it can go, but you've done what you needed to do, and you like putting on the younger guys, and you're giving them a platform, right? And you're guiding them, and you're teaching them how to do the thing, but you want to make headphones because you made your music, and now you want to sell headphones, or you want
Yeah,
to. Yeah, man, I think a lot of people don't have contingency plans. I think sometimes if this is all you know how to do, I for one don't have a plan, but I'm figuring it out every day. Like I've been doing advertising for a couple, like over a decade or 12 years now, and I'm like, at some point, yes, I need to do something else, but I haven't figured out what that is yet. And I think a lot of people who are in advertising are still there because a lot of people in advertising are good at other stuff. They are musicians or they're comedians or their interests are in other things or they're like amazing bakers. I mean, we've worked with lots of people who like have interests outside of advertising. We worked with guys who develop games. You know what I mean? And not everyone is able to make that transition over to the thing that they really love to do. And advertising is kind of like a fallback. It's like, well, I can still make money and I know how to do it. So I'm going to keep doing this in case this doesn't work out. And there's a few stories of guys who left advertising and made things like built businesses. I mean, we build businesses every day. We don't realize we're building them, but we are, or we're helping businesses solve problems. So I think there's always that thing of, well, why can't I do it for myself? Why can't I build a business and make my own ads? And you can, but I mean, there's that like that safety net, I guess, in a way of advertising, even though it's not the safest net, because accounts move all the time and you get retrenchments and people downsize or restructure or whatever. So the safety net isn't the safest, but it is a net. But yeah, I think it's good to look at stop making beats and make headphones. I think that's a good way to look at it. And make beats, I guess.
Beats by Dre. I suppose we should promote the show, right? So the show is called Bleed.